The Alliance chamber aboard the stellar vessel Aurora Crown drifted through a calm stretch of space, its silver corridors humming with soft energy. Those corridors carried the weight of an old promise, one forged long before most living souls aboard the vessel had been born. That promise bound two civilizations together and would soon bind two individuals who had never met. Lena of the Sarai Dominion prepared for a meeting that had shadowed her entire life. She had been promised since birth that she would stand beside a human partner chosen to represent Earth in a cultural exchange that had once prevented a dangerous conflict. Her future had been shaped by that vow. Every lesson, every ritual, every moment of training had been guided by the idea that she would one day meet the human, whose presence would alter the balance of peace. Lena had always imagined what a human might look like. She had seen images, heard stories, learned the customs, but none of that compared to the waking truth that she would soon see one with her own eyes. While she studied herself in the mirror-like alloy wall of her chamber, she adjusted the folds of her ceremonial mantle. The fabric shimmered in soft blue tones, marking her status as an emissary. She steadied her hands and tried to calm the tremor in her breath. The weight of tradition pressed on her. The Dominion valued promises above all. A broken bond, even one made generations ago, could fracture alliances and disrupt entire star sectors. She had been raised on this knowledge. Across the vessel, in a chamber designed with human comfort in mind, Mark of Earth prepared in his own way. He had not been raised for this role. Unlike Lena, his destiny had not been shaped by ancient vows. He had been chosen only months before, selected for his adaptability and record of diplomatic work. Despite his training, nothing had prepared him for the knowledge that he was the center of a promise made long ago. As he secured his formal jacket, he wondered what his counterpart would expect of him. Would she see him as inadequate compared to the legends built around the promise? He hoped not. He hoped that whoever she was, she would meet him as a person, not as the symbol everyone insisted on. Mark inhaled deeply, trying to settle the nerves twisting in his chest. He had been briefed on the Sarai. Their culture was incredibly disciplined. Their speech followed strict pattern. Their customs cherished unity and controlled emotion. Mark worried he would misunderstand something or offend without meaning to. Still, he reminded himself why humanity had been invited into this alliance. Humans were known for their unpredictability, their ability to reshape fate when other species surrendered to inevitability. That was what the Sarai admired. That was why he stood here now. The meeting chamber had been designed as a neutral ground. Its walls shifted between blue and gold, blending the colors that marked both cultures. A long walkway led to a circular platform at the center, where the emissaries would face each other. This was where fate was meant to turn. Lena entered first. Her steps were measured, her breathing controlled. She carried the dignity of her people in every movement. When she reached the center, she folded her hands in front of her and waited. Mark entered moments later. His stride lacked the practiced grace of Lena's movements, but it carried purpose. He hesitated when he saw her, struck by the composed presence she projected. She looked both strong and fragile, like something built to hold the hopes of her entire civilization. Mark reminded himself not to stare too long. When he reached the platform, he stopped a respectful distance from her. For a moment, neither spoke. The silence felt sacred. Then Lena offered a traditional greeting she had practiced many times. She placed one hand lightly over her heart and lowered her head. Mark, having studied the gesture, mirrored it awkwardly but earnestly. Lena lifted her gaze and took in the small imperfections in his movement. She found herself unexpectedly charmed. "You honor the tradition," Lena said, her voice calm and even. She had practiced the line thousands of times, but finding him before her made it feel new. "I am Lena of the Sarai Dominion." It is my purpose to stand with you in accordance with the ancient vow. And I'm Mark, he said. I'll try my best to be worthy of that vow. His voice held sincerity rather than ceremony. Lena found that surprising. She had expected formality equivalent to her own training. Yet his straightforward words felt refreshingly real. For the first time, she questioned whether all her years of preparation had prepared her for him. The first stage of their meeting required them to walk together along the circular platform, reciting a shared oath that reaffirmed cooperation between their peoples. Lena began the recitation with practiced precision. Mark followed her lead, stumbling a few times over the unfamiliar phrase structure, but continuing with determination. Lena noticed the slight strain in his voice and slowed her pace so he could match her cadence. Such a deviation from discipline would normally be unthinkable for a Sarai emissary. Yet she found herself adjusting naturally. When they reached the end of the platform, they turned toward each other. According to the ritual, both were to show a gesture symbolizing trust. Lena extended her hand, palm upward, offering vulnerability. Mark placed his hand over hers. She expected a firm, diplomatic grip. Instead, she felt a warm, steady touch that conveyed something far more personal. Her breath caught for a brief instant. Training told her to remain composed, but the moment felt more significant than she had ever imagined. "Your hand is warm," Lena said before she had time to stop herself. It was a simple observation, yet one she had never rehearsed. His presence made her feel unexpectedly genuine. Mark smiled slightly. "It's a human thing. We run warm. I guess it's an evolutionary quirk." Lena tilted her head, intrigued. "I was told humans adapt through instinct rather than discipline." "We adapt because we have to," Mark answered. "But discipline helps too." Their hands remained joined longer than the ritual required. Neither hurried to withdraw. Something subtle had begun to form between them. Not just the fulfillment of a vow, but the first hints of real connection. When they finally separated, both felt the lingering sense of the moment. The next stage required conversation without ceremonial structure. The purpose was to allow them to understand each other beyond the roles assigned by their civilizations. Lena had prepared for this as well, but found her rehearsed lines evaporating when she looked into Mark's eyes. They held curiosity without judgment. She noticed the way he observed everything, not analytically, but openly, as though every detail was an invitation to wonder rather than critique. "Do you feel burdened by the promise?" Mark asked. The question startled Lena. No Sarai would speak so directly. "Yes," she said after a pause. "The vow shaped every moment of my life. I was prepared from childhood to meet the human who would stand beside me. I believed I knew what to expect. Yet now that we have met, I realize I understood nothing." Mark nodded. "I get that. I didn't grow up with this promise, but I've felt the pressure of it since I was selected. People expect perfection. I'm not perfect. I don't think I ever will be." "Perfection is illusion," Lena replied. "Discipline is valued, but even discipline falters. I was afraid you would see me only as the symbol of my people, not as an individual." "I don't want symbols," Mark said. "I want to know you, the real you." The admission left Lena momentarily breathless. She had never been addressed like that. Her people did not focus on individuality. Their culture emphasized the collective strength of unity. To be seen as a single person was both disorienting and liberating. They walked along the chamber as they spoke. Mark asked Lena about her homeworld, her interests, the things she enjoyed when not bound by duty. Lena hesitated at first, but soon found herself sharing small truths she had never voiced. She told him about the crystal fields near her childhood dwelling, where she used to sit during silent hours. She described the serene patterns of Sarai skyforms and the flowing motions of their ceremonial dances. Mark listened with genuine interest. When he spoke, he told her about Earth's vast oceans, its shifting winds, its crowded cities filled with unpredictable motion. He spoke about music and art that thrived on emotion rather than precision. Lena found herself fascinated. She imagined the chaotic vibrancy he described and felt a longing she had never known. As time passed, others watched from hidden observation chambers, but neither emissary noticed. Lena and Mark were becoming something more than their roles, something more than what the old vow had anticipated. Their connection grew not through ritual, but through honest conversation and unguarded moments. Eventually, they reached a quiet alcove where the chamber's illumination softened. Here, both emissaries were expected to exchange a symbolic gift. Lena presented a crystal shard from the Sci-Fi fields, its surface reflecting faint hues. Mark accepted it with careful hands. "It looks alive," he said. "In a way it is," Lena replied. "It resonates with emotional energy. It reacts to proximity." Mark held the shard closer and watched its colors shift softly. "It reacts to me. It recognizes openness," she said. "You are open." He offered his own gift, a small metallic disc engraved with a pattern representing Earth's first orbital vessel. Lena traced the grooves with her fingers. The texture felt rough compared to Sarai craftwork, yet it held a sincerity she appreciated. "It carries the history of your people," she said. "It carries the hope of new."